How's it going, everybody? I'm here with North Alabama Hiking today. And today I'm going to do the second video in the Day Hike Emergency series. The previous video is about pre-hike planning and things you can do to help prevent emergencies, like having mounts, doing your research. And you can check that out in the first video. Today's video I want to talk about your preparedness mindset. And this is going to be more about thinking about the types of emergencies you can have and getting yourself in the mindset of why and how should I prepare for that. And first of all, I do think it's excellent to learn skills such as bushcraft and things like that. There are many great videos out there that talk about, survival situations. Dave Canterbury has an excellent channel with bushcraft skills. TA Outdoors is another one I've seen. And out of the Huntsville area, Green Greg's. Go check him out. He's got a lot of great videos on foraging in the woods for food. But what I'm going to talk about is already trying to be prepared and using resources that you can keep in your day pack to help you out in the event of an emergency situation. Now, I want to get you in this video to think, what can happen. So, your number one day hike emergency is going to be getting lost. And outside of that, your other ones are injuries or things of that nature. But getting lost is one of the number one day hike emergencies. One of the hot spots for that in the North Alabama area is the Bankhead National Forest. There's a few occurrences every year of people getting lost and having to be rescued in that area because it's a very large area, very popular spot. But it's secluded. It's your cell phone coverage is not that great. So what tends to happen is people will go down there. They don't do the proper research sometimes, or they may, just be driving through and decide, hey, I'm going to get off on this trail. So they might have some water and their cell phone, and that's about it, and they get them how to stay overnight. And usually these people don't have food, don't have extra water, they don't have any kind of shelter. And so that's what I'm going to talk about, is getting you in the mentality of what you should have and why you should have it. And we'll break that gear down individually in future videos. But and a lot of those hikers too talk about they end up, they're slightly dehydrated sometimes when they get back, very tired. Sometimes they might have a little bit of hypothermia depending on the time of year. So, and that's what I wanted to get you to think about, is how can that happen, and how can I prevent the situation being worse, where I'm stuck out in that situation. So in your day pack, I'm going to tell you briefly in this video and then more in detail in the next one how you can have food, shelter, ability to make fire, and an ability to get purified drinking water. And you can easily fit that in your day pack, and your day pack will still weigh very little. So, and the reason why is this, you may be thinking, well, if I need water, I can drink it out of a creek. Well, you can, but then you run the risk of, drinking water that has bacteria or something in it. But having a proper water filter, will make that safe. Food, and I know a lot of people say, well, you can go several weeks without food and still survive. That is correct. However, in an emergency situation out on a day hike, you may be looking at having to hike out for 5 miles or so the next day, whatever your situation is, because rescuers might not get to you. You may have to hike yourself out of there. You're going to need energy, and you're not going to have to forage for food in order to get that energy. You're going to want to have it already on hand. So that's my philosophy on why I want you to think about that. You do not want to spend your energy trying to spend a couple hours building a shelter to get out of the cold. You do not want to spend your energy trying to walk around and see if you can find something to eat. Or you don't want to run the risk of drinking bad water and making your dehydration worse by getting sick. And you also want the ability to make a fire, and you don't want to have to do it the old rubbing sticks together way, because most people don't know how to do that anyway. So, and get that in your mentality. Your mentality should be, what is the best, most efficient, and easiest way to survive this situation. And if you have, there's 4 essential elements when it comes to wilderness survival that if you have, your chances of surviving with minimal damage go way up. And those are water, food, shelter, fire. If you have those readily available, your situation gets a lot better. If you don't have those, it can get a lot worse. And that's why I want to talk your preparedness mindset in this video. Is, what can happen before I go? That's any type of preparation mindset for emergencies. That's what you're always thinking is, what can happen before it happens, so that I'm not caught off guard. So you can get lost, you can get injured, and so be thinking about, what are the kind of emergencies I can, if I'm lost, will I be able to call somebody? If not, then what do I do? Do I make the decision to shelter in place, wait till the next day to try to get out? Do I wait for help, or do I try to hike back out? And that's going to depend on your scenario. If you know how to get back out and you just got lost, but you got to stay overnight, that's an option. Or you may have to wait for rescue. Whatever. But you need to think about that. But again, if you already have your shelter, your food, and all that, all those resources available, your chances of making it go way up. And I'm going to show you some things in this video, and I will go in better detail in the next ones. What I have here, this is a Don't Die in the Woods brand survival tent. It's a 2-person tent. I have quite a few of these. I keep one of those in my day pack. I keep some of those in my vehicle. And, they're excellent to have. They provide you instant shelter. You can set it up in just a few minutes. It's designed to reflect your body heat back on you. Help to keep you warm. Help to keep the rain off of you. And all you got to have is a couple of trees or something to tie it between, and it makes it into an A-frame tent. So instant shelter right there. And I have a lot of these. These are just basic Mylar emergency blankets, and I suggest keeping these in your vehicles, at home, but in your day pack, I keep about 3 or 4 of those. You can use them to make a lean-to. You can use them in conjunction with your survival tent to close the ends up or provide extra shelter to wrap up in. And what that is, they guarantee, and these are inexpensive, and they guarantee you form a shelter. And you may think, well, what do I learn to build a makeshift shelter? Well, imagine this scenario: you're out there, it's getting late. You think you can make it back, and you realize you're lost, and you're going to have to stay. Well, now you don't have enough daylight to find things. Without having to use a flashlight. Well, if you're out foraging through the woods at night, you run the risk of getting injured much more. So if all I got to do is say, hey, I'm lost, it's cold, I need shelter, reach into my pack, stretch it out, get it set up, and in 3 to 5 minutes, I got shelter. And that's part of your preparedness mindset is, what's the easiest way to do this? What is the safest way to do it? So You know, and this is just an example. I'm going to go into further detail in the next videos. But this one is just to get you to think and always think, what can I do to better prepare? And you know, you don't want, you know, when you get in an emergency, you're in a day hike emergency and you're lost. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared, and you don't want to be wandering around the woods, you know, trying to find resources. You want those resources with you, so pack those in, and be prepared. You do need to learn skills such as your bushcraft kind of skills, such as building a shelter and best ways to make a fire. But again, in a day hike emergency, you're only going to be out there 24, 48 hours. You know, you need to be as focused as possible on getting rescued or getting back to safety. And you know, you need those resources available with you. So, you know, again, just think about that. And as like I said, watch the previous video about pre-hike planning. You know, be prepared beforehand. Do your research so that you don't even get lost. But if you do, at least you know now, hey, I've thought of the scenarios now. I'm in this scenario. I have the resources to get me through it. And I'm telling you right now, if you know you got the resources, if you got the food, the water, the shelter, and all that, way to keep warm, way to keep fed, your it's great peace of mind to have. So, again, it's like preparing for any other situation. It's like, you know, I'm preparing for a severe weather. What's my mindset on that? I gotta have shelter. I gotta have somewhere safe to go. I need my resources available so that I'm not in the middle of this emergency situation trying to gather things. Have them with you. And you know, don't try to play hero and you know, trying to hone your bushcraft skills on the go when you're just simply trying to make it through the next day and get rescued or go home. So again, this video is about thinking about that. Next video, I will discuss the 4 elements of survival in more detail about what I keep with me. So anyway, if you like the channel, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.